and welcome to Reddit on Reddit, the internet's auditory version of Reddit. I'm Nelson Allingham, joined by Michael Campbell.
Hello, Nelson.
Hello.
We are both all rugged up in hoodies today.
I've got shorts on too, which is dumb.
Very confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah, baffles me.
Yeah. That's Melbourne weather, though. You got to prepare for everything.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true.
I've got an umbrella and breathers in the car, just in case. Yeah, it's cold in summer. Annoying.
Yeah.
So annoying.
Very annoying.
Camera, I've got a little life pro tip.
Sure.
Unethical life pro tip is kind of linked in there.
Okay.
There is this app on Google. I'm not actually sure if you need a Pixel phone. Maybe you just need an Android. I think if you use Google Store. Or you can probably get it on Apple, but then you get Google Store credits.
Okay, right.
So
Yeah.
I suppose you could eventually use that for, something else.
Yeah.
It's an app called just Rewards, I think. It's like Google Rewards.
Mm-hmm.
And all it does is you have to be comfortable with giving up some personal information about yourself.
Okay.
And then what it does is it sends you surveys every now and again, which are usually based on where you've been. It'll ask you hey, did you go to any one of these stores recently? Gives you lists and names of stores, and then you click it, and then it'll say, when did you go here? And then after that, it's did you make a purchase? You went in, but you didn't purchase. You didn't go there. I don't know, just a few different sort of things. And there's also ones where it'll ask you to send a screenshot of or a photo of your receipt if you've been somewhere occasionally.
Yep.
And I wanted to promote this because I think it's really good, because you only get maybe max you get is 25 cents per survey. Mm-hmm. But that adds up pretty quickly because it takes 2 seconds to do every survey. And then, sometimes then I can buy different apps. There was one a game I wanted to buy. It had been adapted from PC to phone, and it's meant to be pretty good, but I just wasn't sure if I was going to like it. So I didn't purchase it outright, and it was $11 or something. So it took a while for me to get it, but maybe not even 2 months or something with all the surveys I got. And then I bought it out, and I was like, sweet, this is just free and easy. And here's the unethical part of it.
Yeah, I was waiting for this because so far this just seems like a plug for a service.
The unethical thing is, just even in general, if you wanted to do it all truthfully and whatever, get the money, I feel it is just a plug for a service, but you kind of get money out of it.
Yeah.
But I have learned that there's only a few kind of certain stores that I guess are paying Google to get this survey information. Mm-hmm. So I know that when I go to an area, Google will be like, you've been to this area. Did you go to this shop? And it gives you the names of a few places, right? But I kind of know which ones I've been around roughly, because I'm not sure if they make up some names of some or whatever. So, for example, I know if I go to the gym, there's a Dan Murphy's there, which is an alcohol shop. It will always ask me if I've been to Dan Murphy's. So I know that that's the one that I click. If that comes up in the list, I'm I know it thinks I've been to Dan Murphy's, so I'm going to click Dan Murphy's. And then it says when did you go? I'm well, I know where I went, so I always put the right. Because, those are just qualifying questions, I'm sure, because they want it to know that information. But yeah, anyway. And then whether I paid for something or whatever, I just choose kind of a random response sometimes, I entered but didn't buy anything, or yes, I purchased something this time, just to, keep it fresh. Anyway, so it's just it's not even real information that they're getting.
Yeah. They're getting filtered information that that they want. So they will reward you.
Yeah, so they'll reward me. It just makes me think how many other people are doing the same that I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's just so easy to lie. Even sometimes when they ask for receipts, I barely keep receipts. And the receipts are actually worth less, but it's more effort. You have to keep the receipt for one, then wait until it comes up, and then take the photo of whatever. But I've just taken receipts of like different stuff that I found around the house, basically, of like different shops. And I'm like, this one works. And I'm sure maybe occasionally they have a human that like validates them, but they wouldn't have humans validating every single one. No. So, anyway, that's my little life hack, pro tip, unethical pro tip, something. Get a little bit of extra money to buy apps that you don't really need.
For within the Google ecosystem.
Google ecosystem.
Do not leave the Google ecosystem.
Yeah, don't you dare. All right. Anyway, let's get into it. This first one is crossed to us by Waves of Misery. And it was in the subreddit Found Satan. But it was originally by Brookie Mookie. This one is it's a screenshot.
Yeah, it looks like
a photo,
like a Facebook post or something.
Yeah, maybe it's a Facebook something. Anyway, the photo is. I'll read the text first.
Okay,
you get what the photo is. So I'm at the dollar store to get some cheap ramen, and this little shit of a kid decided to throw a fit over these larger candy bars and called his mother, and I quote, a bitch, because she wouldn't get him this particular bar. I was waiting for her to slap the living shit out of him. Instead, she literally gave in and said, I'll get you the bigger one when we get to the register. Well, I tell you now, I had no intentions of spending $24 on candy bars, but the look on that little shit's face as I walked out the door with all they had left was priceless. Best $24 I ever spent. And yes, the picture is just of the receipt and all the Hershey's candy bars in there.
Look, if a kid's misbehaving, no better punishment than to make them eat Hershey's chocolate.
They should have let them eat it. That's the pain that they have to go through. Actually, what would be better is to, if as an Australian, if I had some Cadbury on me, just give them a little taste.
Can I just
and be like, you're stuck with rubbish chocolate your whole life.
Can I just say to our American friends, we often rinse you for your bad chocolate.
Yes.
But we had a taste of our own medicine recently. Because we have some friends from Scotland and Ireland who rinse us about our bad chocolate not being as good as the real Cadbury.
Also Cadbury, but just obviously made differently in different countries.
Because they were
like, no, yours is disgusting.
They were going home like, oh, thank God we can get real Cadbury again, not this Australian absolute trash.
There was actually, I think it was...
But then we all agreed that American chocolate was the worst.
It is the worst. I think there was something cross-posted, funnily enough, this week, but I know we had spoken about it before, so I didn't end up including it.
Yes, I think I know what you...
It was about that American chocolate has the stuff that's found in, like, human bile and, cheese and stuff, and that's why a lot of people don't like it.
Yes.
Outside of America because they're not used to it and they're like, this tastes like vomit.
I taste it. Like, not everyone can taste it. Maybe it's like the coriander thing. But yes, right, okay. I taste it in American chocolate.
Yeah.
It's very acidic.
Yeah. So anyway, I thought that was funny.
Anyway, this is great.
Yeah, this is great. Little shits. This is how you punish them. Actually, you've just made it so much worse for that mother. Nah, she's raising the little shit. Okay, never mind. That's fine.
That's true, yeah. Yeah, the kid's not going to be reasonable about this.
Yeah. But I thought this was kind of a funny subreddit. So I actually found another one. This in the subreddit Found Satan. This was by Siren Reverie. And he said, would hate to be Stan's co-worker. And it was actually cross-posted from r/Kitchen Confidential by Pool Shark Pete. To get revenge on a coworker, I dried out a pack of Sharpies, and every time he leaves his out, I swap it for an identical dead one. It's been a week, and he's losing his mind. Somebody said, I want to know what the fucker did to warrant such pure, unadulterated evil genius, which is kind of true. That's a lot of dedication. You know, I feel like purchasing some candy bars when you're in the store, just leaving, it's easy to do.
Yeah.
But going the effort of buying Sharpies, drying them all out.
Yeah.
And then swapping them over as the person does it. That colleague must be a real asshole.
Yeah, that is such a dedicated prank.
Yeah.
To go out of your way. There's planning. There's logistics.
Yeah. I suppose in the end, though, you're like, I'll still end up with good Sharpies.
Yeah, well, that's true. You do end up with the good Sharpies, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty...
You know what would be the awesome one? Is their Sharpie's dead again, and you go, I've got a Sharpie. Like, here. And you give them their own Sharpie back. Yeah. And then when they walk away the next time, swap that again.
Swap it again. Yeah.
They're like, well, it can't be Camber. He gave me a Sharpie.
Yeah, he's such a kind guy. Yeah.
And then even to be like, hey, I noticed you can't have trouble. I brought you a packet of Sharpies.
Yeah.
And then systematically do it to every single one of them.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, pretty evil genius. Have you had any real life evil pranks on people at work? I saw a colleague do this to somebody else. It was in good humor though, but I found it was pretty funny. He pre-programmed. So we have the standing desks at work, and he just pre-programmed one of the settings to be real low. So the guy was like sitting at his desk, ready to like stand up, press the button, and it just kept going down. He's like, and he like backed away, and it just went as low as it possibly could.
You know what I thought you were going to say?
Yeah.
Pre-programmed it for just a certain time of the day to just stand up.
Yeah.
So they'd be working to go, hang on.
Yeah, that'd be good.
That'd be a good one. I don't know if they have timers, but
I don't know if they do have timers, but yeah.
You know how some of them have like 1, 2, 3, 4 with preset things?
Yeah.
It'd be good one as you walk past their desk, just hit one of them.
Yeah. It's like,
stop it.
Yeah. I actually quite like those feels like a newer thing-ish. I'd say in the past, 5 years have become a bit more popular. But I actually quite like them.
Yeah. Yeah, you said the other day.
Yeah.
What about if someone you didn't like, you need to be in a place that it requires them to like take their shoes on and off.
Yeah.
In some way. But just slowly trim their shoelaces. Just a little bit each day. And then one day they just will not be long enough for them to tie together. But hopefully you've done it over like a month that they've not noticed the small increments coming out.
The real genius is you need to put the little plastic ends back on.
Yeah.
That would be... Because if you could do that, that would be so wild. Somebody is like, "Oh my god, how did it shrink so significantly?" Yeah, hard to cover up the frayed ends otherwise.
Because that would be one that you're like, I must be going crazy.
Yeah,
have my feet got bigger?
Yeah,
but the shoes still fit.
Yeah, I do like the idea. So it reminds me of crap. I always forget his name. Who's the mentalist guy?
Darren Brown.
Darren Brown. Thank you, God. Why do I always forget his name?
Because he made you
Oh, my God, he made it. Yeah. So Darren Brown did that thing where he tries to get somebody to admit to a murder that they didn't do. Darren Brown actually murders somebody just to set it up. No, but what's interesting is the sort of precursor to getting this person to admit it is that they make them doubt their own mind. And they do this sometimes by at one point somebody's giving a talk at the front of the room, they're wearing like a red tie, then they walk around the room behind people, they quickly change tie, and everybody else obviously is in on it except this one person. They change tie to something totally different, and the person you can see has a bit of reaction like, did they change tie? But nobody else is reacting. So like, maybe I'm just going a bit crazy. To me, is so conniving and evil that like, because you couldn't talk to anybody else about it. And even if you did, they would just be like, what? Like, what are you talking about? And they even do this thing that admittedly was one of the times where I was like, I don't know, but if I believe this is real, as some of the Darren Brown stuff that he does seems pretty outlandish, but they change the food that he's eating. And you're like mid-meal,
switch it out.
Somebody actually speaks to him over one side. So he kind of has to turn totally away from his meal.
Yeah.
And he's kind of bent down a little bit and they switch it. And not only that, they do it twice. You're like, this is pretty fucking mental. The only like saving grace that makes it seem slightly more realistic is the fact that you're meant to be around a lot of intellectual people. It was like a seminar on self-worth. Everybody has like something to bring to kind of elevate everybody else at this thing. So it's like very professional, so he couldn't easily be like, what the fuck is happening? Because, you don't want to react like that around such professional people. So, but I think, the idea of screwing with people like that is pretty good.
Me and my friends in high school, there was a group of us that did it to each other. But I'm thinking if you all decided to do it to one person, it would be quite funny. This is a very, very small thing, and it was always to catch people unawares when they were half concentrating.
Yeah.
So in the classrooms we were in, you had like a big window, and then you had like a sectional wall, then you had another big window.
Yeah.
And if you caught eyes with your friend and you were walking outside and they were in a classroom, what we used to think was very funny is you'd walk past one window on your way to somewhere and then you'd stop in the middle between them and then you'd duck down.
Yeah.
So you just never came out the other side of the window.
Thought you were in a void. Yeah.
And then we started just mixing it up and doing different variations.
Yeah.
So one we would do is one person would duck under the first bit and stand up in the middle.
Yeah.
So one person would walk past window one and then become another person out of window two.
It's pretty good.
Or you'd walk past window one.
Yeah.
And then you walk past window one again.
Yeah.
And then you walk past window one again. And then you'd just be in window two.
Yeah.
Imagine if everyone started doing that to one person.
Yeah.
Because it's, again, like they've spotted you in class and you'd see them kind of turn when you didn't come out. And they'd be like, what? Oh.
Kind of it. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. I like screwing with people, I guess. Does that say something about me?
We've been doing it for near 500 episodes.
Yes, we are messing with your psyches just by listening. All right, Cambo, let's move into Ask Reddit. Ask Reddit. This Ask Reddit. Okay, this one was pretty heavy. But it was so interesting that I wanted to include it.
Yeah.
But it is pretty heavy. But then afterwards, I'll even tell you it. Don't answer now, Cameron. This is just a little teaser to let people know something good is coming. It's by Justic Sapphire. If you were to eat only one fruit for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Yeah.
We're going to get to that.
That's coming up.
That's coming up. That's nice and lighthearted. And I wonder what it is. But let's get to this one first, which is by Party Asparagus 8257, who said, casino workers of Reddit, what's the worst loss or worst case of gambling addiction you've seen? I don't really have any that I don't know anybody.
Yeah, I would
that.
say you and I aren't huge gamblers.
Yeah.
You are a little bit more than me. You play poker and such.
Yeah,
for a while.
I did have a friend, my friend Adam, who wasn't addicted, but went and gambled a lot in a short period of time. But the insane thing is he won lots of money.
Right.
He played a game called Baccarat, which I don't even totally know what it is, but I think it's almost as simple as like, Casino Wars, which is like high card wins kind of thing. It's a bit more complex than that, but it's basically like kind of 50-50 chance on just you winning with a modifier that obviously means the house is more likely to win. And he would go and he just won heaps of money one time and then he went back the next day. This was like after he finished uni for the day or something. And he like won heaps of money again. And he ended up, he said he would go in and regulars would come over to his table and just start placing his bets. And he said he would like go up, and he'd start just betting like $5 bets at a time, whatever. And then he'd get so much money, he's doing like $120 bets at a time or something. And I think he ended up getting like maybe 10 grand out of it or something. Like insane, like totally against the odds. Nobody should use this as a reason to gamble because it was against it. He even said he said there were times where like he had earned more money and then lost a bit again, but never into the amount that he had invested in the first place.
Right.
And he said he even bought a suitcase one day just to stack it full of the money that he'd won because he thought it'd look cool like in the movies. And he's like, turns out you need like a lot of money. He's like, it looked like I had a briefcase with a few bucks in it because, even though it was like probably a few $1,000s. And he also, I remember one of these times he said one of the dealers, croupiers, was dealing to him, not looking at him and saying, get out now. She's like, I've seen people lose what you've gained so far. She was like, just walk away from the table with your money. And he didn't because, that's what gambling does to people. Yeah. Again, he was super lucky that he came out with it. But and then I think he told his dad as well. And his dad's like, okay. It's like, glad you told me and you won this money, but we both know that you need to stop now.
Yeah.
And I think by having the conversation with his dad, he was like, yeah, I need to actually quit while I'm ahead because it's not a numbers game that you win.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, that's good that had that actual insight into the self to be able to do that.
Yeah, that's right. But anyway, let's get into some depressing shit here.
Yeah, this first one's rough.
This is by timed delivery. I dealt in 2 casinos in Australia for a total of around 5 years. So many stories, but the worst one would have to be the guy at 5 a.m. on Christmas morning who mentioned to the guy next to him that he had to be home by 7 a.m. so he could be there when his kids woke up and opened their presents, but was still at the table at 9 a.m. That's pretty dark.
Yeah. And look, you would hope that it is just because of the time suck. Didn't realize.
Yeah.
And not prioritized.
But still, it's so crazy.
Yeah. There's one here. I've skipped a kind of a longer one, but I found a shorter one from Kat Morit. Said, my mother-in-law was at a casino in Vegas when there was some kind of altercation that involved a gun. The police told everyone to get down. While crouching on the floor, people were still reaching up to play the slots.
That is so crazy. Isn't that so crazy? I mean, though, sometimes maybe it happens so often there. It's like hearing a fire alarm, in a building where you're like, I know this is a false alarm. I'm going to keep watching TV. That is just so crazy. I kind of did want to read the longer one. It's pretty long, though. Okay, I'm going to do it anyway. Okay. It's by X Chaotical X. I will read it fast, maybe. I had 16 years in the casino business. I was a dealer for 3 years and a pit boss for 9. The saddest thing I witnessed happened over time. There was a genuinely very nice couple that came in and played Let It Ride. The game is atrocious odds-wise, utterly boring, and I was always miserable dealing it. The woman was in her early 50s, quite overweight and wheelchair-bound, and the husband was very thin and mousy. The husband was always the one to play, and the wife would sit behind him. They didn't even bet heavily. They were there 7 days a week for hours and hours a day, weeks in a row. As time went on, they stopped being as nice to the staff and to each other. They were both obviously not taking care of themselves as they had been, hygienically speaking. Eventually, one night, the husband turned around to ask the wife for more money, and she absolutely broke down in a shaking, sobbing fit, just uncontrollably inconsolable. He was pretty demanding, and she was slow handing over the last couple of 20s out of her purse. And she said, Tom, this is it. If you leave us this, we won't eat this month. I absolutely refused to take the money, called my supervisor over and explained the situation, and thankfully, unlike a lot of joints, they backed that decision up. That was very early on in my career, and it really hit me hard that I had taken tens of thousands of dollars from those people. If I remember right, we evicted them lifetime and connected them with the state problem gambling service. There's another story there, but but that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's so depressing.
Yeah. His next one is actually kind of brief, but it's just about somebody who had won a lot of money on one of his shifts, and he came back to his next shift.
Oh, it's gone.
And it was down less, and he's like, oh, okay, like he's lost some of his winnings. And then somebody else has said, no, actually, he lost all of it, and he put in more money again. And
oh, man.
Yeah. It's like, oh boy, it's really
Yeah,
gambling is just so rough and it can just get you.
Part of me is really thankful that I don't think I have too much of an addictive personality.
Yeah.
Gambling actually fills me with anxiety.
Yeah, right.
I've actually placed my yearly bet. I make one bet a year, which is on the Oscars.
Yeah.
And I've placed that.
Yeah.
Even then, I'm filled with anxiety.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I did not bet very much money.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, why did I bet the house on that? So I won bet a year.
Yeah. Oh, man. Like, it makes me so sad,
Yeah.
you know. But, Nelson,
Yeah.
I have another question for you.
Yes.
If you could only eat one fruit.
Okay. No, wait. I want to do this last one,
yeah.
okay? Because I do want to get to that question. It's very important. But I thought this one is particularly interesting. This is by Fidigir Hijik Help. Worked surveillance at a casino for a bit. Every time someone hit a jackpot at a slot machine, we'd pull up their account. They were always, 100% of the time, down on their lifetime earnings. This included people that hit for 50,000 plus. Worst one I saw was 375,000 for the year in July. Wow. How do you even have that much money to get in the first place?
I mean, you probably don't. You're probably in debt
Yeah,
already.
yeah.
That's crazy, isn't it? That like if you win a jackpot, you've obviously been there for long enough.
Yeah.
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 You don't win a jackpot.
You don't
do you?
win.
Yeah.
You've actually paid for that jackpot.
Wow, that's crazy.
It is funny because like I do so I hate gambling when I'm against somebody else. Poker, like you said, when I was younger, I played a lot of poker just with friends, really. And I ended up, I would say, developing quite a bit of anxiety around playing poker now. I don't even know how it happened. I don't feel like it was a particular time or something that it happened, but I just really don't particularly like playing it anymore. And we'll only play it like when it's really casual with my friends. And I probably only play the casino once anyway.
Yeah.
But I think I kind of otherwise do have the addictive personality where I could get really sucked into something like that. Probably the thing that I gamble on the most now is like I'll buy lottery tickets. And I know that's stupid. I know I'm basically paying for nothing.
I just want people to know that at my wedding, Nelson, you gave me and Stacey a lottery.
Yeah. And did you win, Cambo?
Yeah, technically.
Yeah, you won. Okay.
Did we cover how much you spent?
Probably not. I don't remember, but probably
What I'm
not.
saying is Nelson has a problem.
Yeah. But I always think to myself, I'm like, is it okay if I know that I'm not getting anything back?
I mean, I guess.
If I'm spending this $20 and I know I'm not going to get it back.
Look, does it bring you joy to spend that $20?
Sometimes.
Okay.
It gives me, I think I've said this before on the show where I'm like, I do actually think buying a lottery ticket isn't just about buying a lottery ticket. It's about the ability to then dream about winning, because you can't do that if you haven't bought a lottery ticket.
You should work in marketing for the gambling.
Yeah.
Winning isn't the...
You won't win, but you can at least dream about winning when you buy a ticket. Okay, anyway, Cambo, let's get to the real crux of this. If you were to only eat one fruit for the rest of your life, what would it be?
This is a hard one because I think that my brain says I need to go with the fruit that kind of goes with the most stuff and can be used in the most stuff as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Not necessarily what, like, I really like a grape, but I wouldn't say they're that versatile necessarily.
Well, that's because you don't drink wine.
Well, okay, yeah, that's true, I guess.
So,
But the problem is, I also, I love my wife very much.
yeah.
I fear the answer is actually banana. But I don't think I could pick it.
Because she'd murder you.
She would murder me. Because Stacey is not a picky eater.
Yeah.
Whatsoever. The one food she
The
doesn't
exception
like.
to the rule.
The one food she doesn't like is bananas.
Yeah. Which is
So-
crazy because bananas could be up there for me to. I don't think it would be my choice.
Yeah.
But it's up there.
Yeah. I think it's one of the more versatile fruits.
Right. Yeah.
You can even do like protein pancakes and stuff with bananas.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, other than that, what's the most versatile fruit, do you think?
I think I would have to choose. Oh, see, it's interesting, right? Because, like lemon, for example, is in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that's
you don't
true.
think about lemons as like
Yeah.
I'm going to eat a lemon, but the citrus from lemons is used in so much stuff.
Lemon stuff.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Because
My
my
lemon
fear
seems
is
so boring. Though,
I
as an
know.
answer.
My fear is that a genie will pop out and say, "You can only eat one fruit. What is it?" And I would panic. And I'd be like, "Kiwi fruit."
Yeah. Oh no.
It's like I like a kiwi fruit. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it's like you can only have so many.
Yeah. And then that's it. You're done. Yeah. I think I would choose. I think I'd choose grape.
Yeah.
I think I'd be tempted to choose lemon because I've seen a lot of stuff and I do like lemon.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it's like add a little lemon juice to a salad dressing. Just
It's
a bit
funny,
nice, but
I think we've had opposite things. I was leaning towards grape until you brought up how much lemon is in stuff.
yeah, okay, yeah.
And now I'm thinking to be safe, I go lemon.
What if it's like
have an apple or something?
so then let's now not consider that it's just about eating the whole fruit. So you don't have to consider what is used
just
in.
eating the whole fruit. It might be an apple, I think.
Okay.
The grapes.
I do like a good grape.
Does grape mean any kind of grape?
Ooh.
I mean, apple could be any kind of apple.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I
But-
feel like we can say any type.
But
What's your go-to apple type?
we normally have jazz apple here.
Oh, that's a bit fancy.
Which I quite like a jazz apple. Have you heard of the Cosmic Crisp?
No.
It's a newer apple that was like invented.
Do you know I get suspicious when they give fruits fancy names because I'm like, you've come up with a shit fruit and you need to give it a good name.
I believe it was this one. I may have there's been a few new apples, but the inside of the apple is red.
Oh, cosmic, you could say.
Yeah. It is like I've not ever had one.
Yeah.
But when I see them, I'm like, it looks cool.
Yeah.
I must admit, it looks pretty cool.
That I always think about, right? So there's the like marketing of fruit and vegetables, I think is interesting.
Yeah.
We have, and I don't know what it is like in the rest of the world, right? But we have trust tomatoes and gourmet tomatoes. They're like the main two. And the trust tomatoes always have the vines still attached on them. And they look just more like fancy and like they would taste great. But without a doubt, gourmet tomatoes, not even objectively, just by fact, gourmet tomatoes taste better. And like the trust ones can be almost like a little bit dry kind of in their skin.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but they've just done such a great job at marketing them to make them look nice. It's like, oh, look at these nice little vines that are on them.
Aesthetically, that's what you'd see in like a promo picture. Or
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I just think that's funny. Anyway, grapes are the winners.
Yeah, it probably is grapes.
I like a good peach every now and again. But peaches can be so hit and miss, is my problem.
I have found the apple. It's not the Cosmic Crisp.
Oh,
But this is an Australian apple. It's grown here.
okay.
But the whole apple, inside and out, is all red.
That's wild. It looks wrong.
The Lucy apple, it's called.
Lucy. Oh.
Is that boring enough for you?
Yeah, it's good. Has everybody forgotten about the crushing depression of gambling addiction?
Hopefully.
Yeah. Okay, Cambo, let's get into Today I Advice.
So now it's time for Today I Learned. What's
Today I Learned.
And also sometimes advice.
This Today I Learned is by Forgot the Bloody Pass. Today I learned that a US developer who outsourced his job to China for a fifth of his salary was repeatedly named as star employee before getting caught.
There's definitely people doing this right now with ChatGPT.
Oh, yeah. That's true.
Premium subscription, what's that, $16 a month or something?
Yeah. It still feels like it requires too much effort to like bridge the gap, you know? Like I use it as it as a tool. Do I say that's using it?
I will say, I built a website 2 weeks ago with it.
Yeah.
By saying like, hey, I want to do a website that does this.
Yeah.
Can you do that? And it's like, yeah, here's the code. And then I said, but what do I do with the code? It
Yeah.
said, put it into this file here.
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
So, like, I feel like people could seem like they went above and beyond because I could have said, hey, like, I learned how to build websites
Yeah,
or whatever
yeah.
just to do this. It sounds way more impressive.
Yeah,
Than what I did.
Yeah, that is that's interesting to think about ChatGPT. Do you think you could outsource your job?
Not for a very good profit.
I
could.
Yeah.
I could. There are people that would freelance do what I do.
Okay.
But I feel like in my profession, if you're freelance, you actually earn more than if you're contracted.
Yeah. You'd have to get somebody starting out or something.
Yes, yeah. Maybe like a student or something. But then I would fear, I would say I'm pretty good and pretty quick at my job.
Yeah.
So I would want a student that could deliver as quickly as I normally deliver.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is volume then, because then you don't get the one job, you get several jobs of the same thing.
Yeah,
And then have several students, I think.
If I could run some kind of network of students
yeah.
to do my work for a
Yeah.
profit for me.
Yeah. And then what happens is it ends up working so well for you that you start your own business where you are like the intermediary, where you go to all these other companies and you say, I can now outsource that job for less.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, once I get fired when they discover it.
Yeah, I'm like, but do you want to pay for this? Because I've got all the sources. So.
Could you outsource yours? Yours is kind of specific.
Mine, could. The only problem is, and I don't know how to get around it so much, is mine requires like access to systems for data.
Yeah.
And I could obviously give my access to somebody else. But for one, that seems real risky.
Yeah.
Even if I'm paying them. I also work in payroll, right? So what would be really funny is if I give them access, I'm paying them 1/5 or less than what I'm getting, but they can see how much I earn.
Yeah.
And how much everybody else is earning in the company. I think they'd be like, I think I'm getting ripped off here. And then they'd blackmail me, and then I'd be in a lot of trouble. But yeah, it's sort of providing access, and I'm pretty sure my IT department would like flag any international
Yes. Yeah. I'm
you
sure.
know, requests and stuff. So that would be a bit tricky. But the functionality of my work, I think, otherwise would be pretty easy to get somebody else to do. But I'm kind of the same as you, where I was like, I can get shit done pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And pretty easily. Like,
the-
and actually, I really like doing the stuff that I could outsource the most. I think is the stuff that I like doing the most. You know, the stuff that I don't like doing is like liaising with people on projects that are bullshit and whatever.
The department I am in at my work is just 3 people. And it was designed for us 3 people because we are very quick but still good at what we do. And I think us 3 people have replaced a lot of other people.
Right, yeah.
So I think we are the cost-saving measure.
Yeah.
We are
right.
the outsourcing.
Yeah.
Like time was that every single show, etc., would have a person to do this.
Yeah.
Times that by 40.
Yeah.
And now it's 3.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty good cost saving thing. I feel like it's sometimes one of those things, right, that just gets developed like as a business is building. They're like, we need this role for this. And it's like, it's not questioned because it seems obvious and logical. And then, and maybe there's even specific reasons why you need that person for that show or something like that. And so then you just hire every time you got a show, you hire for that position. And then all of a sudden it only takes one person to be like, hey, you know, I've just realized I think this one person could do the job of several people doing the same thing.
And sometimes I think it was like, there were certainly times that it's like, this person's out sick and we couldn't do it. And someone's like, I could do that for you.
Yeah,
And that happens enough times that they're like,
That happened to a guy. I was speaking about this recently. There was a guy when I was working for the arcade game company. He was desperate to earn more money, and he asked if he could have more shifts. Now, I happen to know that he was spending way too long doing what his job was meant to. So he would take 3 days to do this one job.
Yeah.
And I knew that 3 days was too much anyway. But I let him get away with it. And so when he asked me for more money, I don't think I said directly to him, but I was like, the favor I'm doing you is allowing you to stay the 3 days already.
Yeah.
Because and then it was funny because then like a couple of months after that, he went on leave. And so I had to get somebody else to do his job. And they did it in 1 day. Actually, I think they literally did it in half a day.
Yeah.
Because they were also a store manager of some other place. So they did his job in half a day and then went back to their store and did the rest of the job. I was like,
That's not what you want, is it?
that's not good. Anywho. All right. Let's move on, Cambo, into, what are we up to?
Shower thoughts.
Shower thoughts.
Shower thoughts, shower thoughts, shower thoughts, shower thoughts.
This shower thought is by Dwintio. Most people don't wear sweatpants when they plan to actually get sweaty.
That's true, I guess.
If I got sweaty in sweatpants, I'd be like, oh, I'm so annoyed. I should have worn shorts.
Yeah.
Like, it's so uncomfortable to be in sweatpants and be sweaty.
Yeah.
It's like the worst.
Because also sometimes called track pants as well. So I guess
Well, I thought that was just like in America they call them sweatpants.
But I'm assuming that's because people would wear them to run track.
To run track. Yes. Although again, I feel
Which
like
seems
it's
crazy.
the
Wear
like
shorts.
it's the yeah. Well, I feel like it's the you wear them in your warm up. Sort of.
Yeah,
like keep
yeah.
your legs warm
Yes,
prior
you're
to
probably
the
right, yeah.
But sweatpants implies to me like you sweat in these pants is the idea. And that seems like a terrible idea.
Yeah. Okay. Would you, if you were going on like the weather today, not that warm, but not like raining and miserable, and you
Yeah.
were going on a walk for like an hour into like the forest around where we are?
Tricky. Yeah, because oh God, that is a tricky one.
Because I'm wearing like I guess it's a sweatpant.
Yeah.
I'd probably wear what I'm wearing.
I really hate sweating in pants though. I actually like the heat way more than anything. Any other weather. I much prefer hotter than anything else. But I really don't like sweating in pants. So I think that I would probably wear shorts maybe.
Okay. You still just wear the shorts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But obviously if this was like in winter and I was doing the same thing, I don't think I could even start in shorts because I hate the cold that much. So I would wear the pants and then I'd just get really annoyed when I get sweaty in the pants.
Which is funny because the idea of sweatpants is people normally wear them when they're getting really comfortable.
Yeah, yeah.
But there was an attempt, and this product still exists,
Yeah.
to have the lounge pant,
Yeah.
which is the same kind of a thing.
yeah.
But I think they were a little bit less like elasticated around the ankles and stuff, a little flowy.
They're thinner. Ellen has some loungewear.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like, it's more like linen sort of
Yeah.
stuff. So
But
you're
it's
meant
funny
to-
that that's not
and
really
loose. Yeah.
properly taken off in the same way that sweatpants
I know.
and sweatshirts and stuff.
I think people should get onto loungewear more. I think it's
You like it?
yeah, I
Yeah.
like the lounge more because it's like it's still like flowing and free. Like you feel like you've got more room in it, but it's not hot at
Yeah.
all. Do you know what? I think Americans just have their naming conventions wrong. Cambo, they've got sneakers. I think very few people are sneaking in sneakers.
Why are they called sneakers?
You got me, Cambo?
Yeah. Americans, explain yourself.
Are you all sneaking around in your sneakers? Is that what's happening? Somebody started running in one of them one day and they were like, hey, turns out you can run in these pretty well. Everybody stop sneaking around. You can run.
These sneakers are kind of runners.
Yeah. Here's another one. This is by Oranus. You can hire a clown to perform just for you. That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. It'd be a great power move to not tell them.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
I'd maybe want to do that with a magician.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because sometimes you're like, you know, you want to see the tricks up close and personal.
Do you think you'd be like, now that it is just me and you, how do you do it?
Just tell me. Yeah, that'd be good. Oh, I'm so tempted. Should we have a magician on the show one day?
Yeah, to do audio magic.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
So, real magic, we'll just explain it.
Yeah.
That was my card.
Oh, my God. The coin did appear in his hand. Yeah, that's good. That's episode 1,000 material, right?
Remember that time we went to like a game room?
Yeah.
And it was 4 of us. Mm-hmm. And then that magician just came up and did like a bunch of magic at our table.
Yeah.
That was kind of awkward.
That was really awkward. Yeah.
Because
he's like, hey,
especially because
magic? We're like, oh.
Alan came back halfway through his like set.
Yeah.
So then he was like, oh, fourth, but I've kind of, like, he'd done a bunch of setup.
Yeah.
And then, like, whenever he revealed something, he'd be like, oh, because
earlier he said this. Yeah, funny. Anyway. Actually, I remember he had a good trick because he posted the card to Instagram or something.
Yeah.
But we worked out that he does somehow edit it on the fly.
Yes,
because
he does,
it was like, this was edited 3 seconds ago.
He changes the bio of his Instagram page to have your card in it. Yeah.
It was a good little gimmick.
Yeah, because especially he did it to me specifically. Mm-hmm. And he said, oh, have a look at my Instagram page. And it had my card in there. And I think when we came out of the game room, I still just accidentally had it open, but it was a different card.
Yeah,
like, oh, he's changed it.
Yeah.
He's changed it.
Because you're like, there's 2 ways that works. He always gets somebody to pick the same card, or he's changing it on the fly. Yes. Anyway, I think originally he was going to do it to me, right? And he was like, "Have you got Instagram?" I was like, oh, it really hinges on that, actually. Okay, anywho, let's get camping. We should get into podnapping.
Oh my God, I'm being podnapped!
Podnapping. This is podnapping, where we nap a pod. We take a topic of conversation or a segment from another thing, and we do it ourselves.
It's my week this week. I have podnapped a classic for us. A well that we go back to many times.
I think you go back to the wells. I do fresh content all the time.
That's true. You've never gone back to the well. No, I'm podnapping a Hamish and Andy segment. In fact, it's specifically, I think we've maybe done a version of this, but not quite before.
Right.
They have a whole separate podcast called The Remembering Project.
Yeah. The
idea is they pick a random date, they look at the run sheet from their podcast, and they try and see how much of anything they can remember from what happened on that day. Now, we obviously do not have the back catalogue of them.
Yeah.
But what I did do is I put into the ChatGPT, they'd pick a random Monday from any time from last Monday until October 2016 when we began.
Okay.
Pick a random Monday.
Okay.
And it did. So it picked Monday, the 10th of February. It picked the 2nd of November 2020.
Oh, okay.
So I've gone and I've found that episode of our show.
Okay.
And I'm curious to how much of any of this you remember at all.
Okay. Yep.
So the episode is 214.
Okay, that was a while ago.
Yes, we are currently, for reference, I guess we are on, 439 currently?
Yep.
So yes, this is quite a while ago, not quite 5 years. It is called the Ministry of Necessary Evils, which is also our Reddit topic.
Okay, yeah.
Do you have any memory of what the hell that was?
A Ministry of Necessary Evils. I'm not really sure if I can remember, actually.
No. So I think this is what's going to become apparent. I actually had to do a little bit of work to get this, to realize, I don't think this will be a very long podnapping.
Okay,
which actually works out because we're running pretty far on the episode already. So I'm going to read through our notes from this show to see if anything strikes the bell of anything that we talked about. And then I have actually asked ChatGPT to pick a random segment, and I've actually grabbed the clip.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
So
that's
we
good.
can hear what we talked about for one of them.
I was thinking as well. What's interesting, right? Is we changed the way that we did the naming conventions in our episodes. Where I feel like in the past I used to do them. I used to try and do play on words or something like that.
Yeah.
I still love the episode that I did, which was jail time, more like jail time, but jail was spelled differently, and it sounded like jail time or like gale time. Anyway, so I feel like our more recent episodes are more like directly what we said and spoke about.
Our more recent episodes are actually just time codes for the segments.
Right.
So
yeah.
this wouldn't have worked after a certain date.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But ask Reddit, what did your first girlfriend teach you? That was the Ask Reddit. Do you have any memory of talking about this?
Oh my God. What? Now I'm trying to think of what my first girlfriend taught me. I reckon I would have said something around like, like have more, like stand up for myself more or something along those lines but I don't remember specifically.
Now, here's an interesting one. This is Today I Advice.
Yeah.
Statues with small penises. Which, funnily enough, Stacey has a memory of this. She seems to remember that small penises were actually more masculine on statues. And that does ring a bell.
Yeah,
it's like, it was actually better to have a smaller penis on a statue because you seemed...
Yeah.
That was a more masculine trait.
Because you didn't need to overcompensate.
Yeah.
Or you did. No, I don't know. Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. I don't really remember doing that.
I have a vague... I do have a
maybe.
vague memory of it. As well as stupid kids' names were Today Advice. So I don't know what... I think that was an advice.
Was that... Wait, how old is Elon Musk's kid?
4.
Whoa! It could be related
could
to
be.
Elon Musk's...
Like today, Elon Musk named his child X-Ash, whatever.
Yeah. Could be.
Shower thoughts?
Mm-hmm.
Spooky season?
Okay.
Now, we'd just be past Halloween.
Yeah.
November 6th. So Halloween
Yeah.
within
So
that
it would
week,
have been some sort of something, yeah.
12 seconds.
It just says 12 seconds?
Yep. And butterflies versus moths. Wow. These are the topics that we discussed.
Actually, for some reason,
November
the
25th.
butterflies versus moths things makes me... Yeah. I think the butterflies versus moths things is about how we treat beautiful things.
It is. Well
versus
done. It
how we
is. That's
don't.
what it was about. I did listen to that section a little bit.
Yeah.
It is, the difference between how we treat butterflies and moths.
Yeah.
And just to know, the Podnapping was Captain Game Show featuring Stacey.
Oh, featuring Stacey.
Yes.
I remember that must have been mine then.
It was,
because I think Captain Game Show was a actual podcast that I saw from.
So
okay, so you've got
I said pick a random segment from our show notes.
Yeah.
And I will grab the clip. And it said the randomly selected topic is 12 seconds.
Okay.
So I went back and got this audio file.
Yeah.
And I found the section where we talk about 12 seconds.
Okay.
And let me tell you, I know it's called 12 seconds.
Yeah.
It doesn't go for much longer than that.
Okay.
Our shows back then, this episode's like an hour 40.
Yeah,
Like, they were really long. This was not a very long section. Do you want to hear us talking about 12 seconds?
Let's do
This
it.
is from the 6th of November, 2020.
This is by this is cross-posted to us by Shitballface, but it was originally by Ergay. 12 seconds isn't very much time, but what's something that, if done for 12 seconds, is excessive?
Like holding your hand over an open flame.
Good one, Cambo. You know, now that I put this in, I think I had the one joke of sex, right? But now I've got nothing else.
It's good because you got your one joke.
I got my one joke out. We had that.
Yeah.
Now what's the other joke? I got nothing.
Getting your one joke out, that's what you call sex. We've got 2 sex jokes.
We've got 2 sex jokes. I don't think about this. Okay, here's another one. Yeah,
short and
good.
sweet.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I like sort of vaguely remember that now. I suppose.
I will say it shows that our show is at least consistent. Because that could have been last week.
You absolutely could have. Yeah, we could have done that now. It's funny because it's like another time. I think recently you did a podnapping, and you were like, "Oh, so I came up with this idea," and then or something like that. And then afterwards, Stacey listened back to the episode, and she was like, "Not only did you not come up with that idea, I came up with that idea, and also it was years ago, and you already did it." And we thought, "Oh well, that's just the way it is." Because like I actually try, especially when I put the show notes together, I try to gauge whether we've done it before. But it's getting a lot harder because I don't want us to talk about the same things over and over again because for regular listeners, I'm sure that gets boring. And there's probably, years gap for even the listener, right?
Yeah.
But we don't know what will stand out in a listener's mind compared to ours.
Yeah.
So if we accidentally get onto the same topic again and we have the same sort of thoughts about it and they'll be like, yeah, this is what you said last time, then
what's even more difficult is if we only did this show and that's all we saw of each other.
Yeah.
That might be easier, but genuinely we are friends.
Yeah.
So we hang out and talk outside of this show, and it can also be hard to be like, now
Did
we
we
have
speak about
talked
that?
about
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
but in what context?
Yeah.
Because our conversations outside the show are very similar.
Exactly.
Like we're not putting on a front or a bit.
Yeah.
Here. This is just how we talk to each other.
Yeah.
Which makes that even harder.
Sometimes I'll
again.
say crazier shit that I would, but not that much.
Yeah, it's getting really hard.
yeah. So how about we all just agree that
Let it slide.
let it slide.
If it comes up and we've done it before.
Do you
let
know
it
what
slide.
we could do is we could work out the length, right? So how long were we going? Have we been going for like 8 years? No.
Well, we started in 2016.
Yeah.
No,
So like
9 years.
No,
Well,
yeah.
not quite.
But then probably. Anyway,
This is our 9th.
if we just sort of work out that like 10 years is the limit of what people remember on a podcast, I say we go back to show notes 1
Yeah.
and just run through it again.
Yeah. Okay. And I think just checking. Yeah, we all agree with that.
We all agree with that.
Wow, that's crazy.
The problem is I do remember like the very first episode, How to Kiss a Girl in 1911.
Yeah.
And I remember some of the things we spoke about then.
It's also
we'll
our-
skip the first because everybody remembers the first episode. We'll
It's
start from the
also
second.
our most downloaded episode, which really infuriates me. So much so that we've had to put a message at the start of it.
Yeah.
To be like, don't listen to this one.
Yeah. Listen to later.
Listen to newer ones.
Anywho. Alrighty. Good podnapping, Cambo.
Thank you.
And that's it for this week. But if you would like to write into us, you can do so. Reddit podcast, READIT podcast at gmail.com. You can also reach us at our subreddit or the Discord.
Yep.
The link is in the show notes. And we'd appreciate it if you could subscribe and rate the show. And don't bring up any time that we've repeated a topic.
Never bring that up.
We would appreciate that.
Yeah.
But that's it. So thanks for listening, and we will read you later.